Mail of the minutes from our last meeting. Are there any changes that we need to make to our last meeting minutes? That anybody noticed? Okay. Is there a motion to approve the meeting minutes from last month as written?
I'll move to approve, Sandy.
Thank you, Sandy. Second?
Second.
Oh, thank you, John. Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Anybody opposed? All right, so moved. Marilyn, do we have any public comment today?
No.
All right, do we have any action or discussion items today? I don't think so. So we're moving right along to Marilyn, your director's report.
No, I do not.
Did she understand you? Director's report?
Director's report or the partner reports first?
I'm gonna check if she's getting a delay.
I think she's getting a delay.
I'll check back in.
Thanks, Suzanne.
Uh-huh.
Hey, Marilyn.
Come on in.
So I'm not sure if you're getting a delay.
I am. When I'm on YouTube, it delays. Sorry, guys. I'm like 3 steps behind on my computer because once I clicked YouTube, but are we live now and we're clear? So, yeah. Yep. Sounds good. Thank you, everyone. I'm in charge of the going live and all of a sudden I got like music going and it's like raising up and I mean, it was like somehow a YouTube video got open.
Oh, no.
Okay, well, we are, lots going on here at Center 50 Plus. I'm going to go through some of my staff's reports and then talk about a few things that are in the works. I'm trying to pay attention to people entering the meeting. So if anyone comes in, I'll try to pause and let them in. For the respite program, we received an announcement, a letter from the state of Oregon stating that after July 1st, if our county moves out of high risk into moderate risk, we can open. But at this time, we're still high risk, so it doesn't impact us currently. However, if July 1 comes, I don't know if I've shared with you, but the state of Oregon has been basically providing us a monthly stipend to support our respite program during closure. It's been helping the adult day respites throughout the state stay afloat when they couldn't be open and keep providing some form of service. Well, that has been a lifesaver, frankly, for our program, our respite program. It's allowed us to maintain staffing, to reach out to our caregivers, to do caregiver workshops, to deliver services to people's homes, that kind of thing. Well, with this letter, it also said that if July 1 comes and you are moderate risk and you don't open, those funds stop. So there's a kind of a close little window there. So we're preparing that with a notice of moving to moderate risk, we will be ready to open with a 2-week prep time. 2 weeks to get our volunteers to adhere to the guidelines, to get our licensure all taken care of, and move forward. That does not mean that the center as a whole would open. This would just be an expansion of the one-on-one or by appointment programming that we're currently doing. But that is, it's good news that we're receiving kind of like there is a plan and we'll move forward with that. We have a monthly caregiver workshop. It is going to continue on Zoom. That's June 16th at 12 noon. And these are just topics to help caregivers just be better caregivers and also self-care and helping people with those, because this one's kind of an Alzheimer 101. We also have branched out. This is very exciting. Some of the guidelines of adult foster homes are a little bit less stringent on the visitation or allowing people to come in or to engage in activities with the folks living there. So we had our very first adult foster home visit last Thursday. It was a smashing success. We were there for, Wendy went out with Kanoi, our fitness manager. We were there 1 hour and 15 minutes, and they did exercise. They did kind of a game time, and then they had strawberries with whipped cream. And it was a very, for our first effort, it was very successful. In the beginning, people, 1 or 2 didn't want to join in, but it looked like so much fun and there were prizes. They also did bingo. But there was these games going on. I'll let Kanoi talk a little bit about it in her time. But at the end, the manager of that foster home, who also owns 4 other facilities, said, "We will be calling you." They loved it. This is so worth it. And it's $35. It's 1 hour. We go in, we do amazing arts and crafts and all sorts of things. And it infuses some energy into their space, but it also just lets them know that they're not forgotten, and that they're remembered and they're valued. I think this is definitely an area that we can expand in to further support our respite program, but also it gives us kind of an outreach that may feed into the respite program. If we can figure out transportation, some of those folks that were there would have really benefited from being in a different group with other people, connecting socially with others outside of their home. So that was really exciting. We've been building towards that. And I definitely think it'll be a great addition to our memory, all of our things that involve brain health. Today, we've been doing the WOW van. The WOW van it's been great. We go out, we pass out literature, we answer questions, we do a little bit of connections, but up to this point, it's been limited because of masks and social distancing, but also just group size. Well, we're now outside again, we're still outside, but we're rolling out what we call phase 2 of the WOW van program, which is really a mobile senior center. So today we are at Pioneer Village in Kingwood West, where the groups, people are invited, not just that live there, but from the neighborhoods around, to come over. And there's cornhole. There is a 15-minute exercise class. There is a lifelong learning and craft table that will be going on, a tech table with a talk and Q&A on how to use your technology, information table, giveaways of produce. The produce today is baked potatoes, and all the things you can do with a potato. And then also we've added a coffee bar. So people can come over, have a small cup of coffee, sit together, visit, be with the dogs, the canine corps. But we're spreading out and we're adding some space to our area that we have stepped into, and it's really a mobile senior center. So we're going to pop up in these neighborhoods and roll out some different activities. All of you are invited. It's every Tuesday and Wednesday at a different location. I'll announce it on Facebook. I'll try to give you a schedule at the beginning of the month so you can pop in if you feel like it. Take a 15-minute exercise class or have a cup of coffee. But it's definitely it's really step 2 as we roll this out. What is step 3? Well, when we are able, many of these locations have clubhouses or spaces that we can meet. So phase 3 of the WOW van is that the WOW van pops up and we can take our programs, activities, and services into their clubhouse and provide that service. So it's that idea of senior center without walls, that you don't have to just come to the location on Portland Road to connect, but that we're bringing our services to you. And beyond that, if they really are enjoying us, then they'll want to come to Portland Road. But for those that have mobility issues or transportation issues, all those different things, this is saying, we're going to bring it to you. You're still a part of us. And frankly, it helps us with some of our attendance and group size limitations. Not only now, but as we roll into the future, if we get big enough, this building really won't be big enough. And I know that they're not going to let us really build large facilities all over town. And so this is one way of us taking our services and spreading them out and taking advantage of some underused clubhouses and infusing them with energy and activity. Our small groups have been going on. As a matter of fact, Lapidary and Woodshop are on site. It's by reservation and appointment only. That and community sewing and a wood carving group. And then today, 6 pool players are up in the pool room, masks and gloves, not gloves, masks and socially distanced with their own pool sticks. And they are playing Lapidary, or I just read Mel's thing. I need to turn off that. Just a moment. So, where do I do that? So that will be kind of a demonstration of how we're rolling things out. 6 people made a reservation, almost like a room rental, frankly. They're coming in, they're going to play pool, and then they will leave. So again, we're not open. We can't be open to all folks, but we can definitely do some workarounds so people can start coming in and doing things together. We're going to keep it very low key with a hope. I put it on my calendar. I'm thinking if I'm positive, it might happen. But we're working towards a September 7th, more normal type of programming and program delivery. And so this summer, you're going to see a lot of pop-ups, a lot of work in the parks, a lot of small groups as we roll things out in a slow and manageable way. And I will tell you, I'm very thankful that we are rolling things out in that way, because every time we add a small group and we add the process of making reservations online or calling in, each time it's a little small growing pain. We work through it, we work out the kinks, then we move to the next small piece. And I'm very thankful for this time that we've had to be able to do that kind of work. Let's see. Wanted to talk. I'm going to let Kanoy do her talk now, and then I will come back and finish mine. Kanoy?
All right. Good morning. I am really excited because we are going to be offering our small group and one-on-one fitness appointments for the gym beginning next Monday, June 7th. We've already had folks signing up, so that's always really encouraging. The workouts are all by reservation only via Sign Up Genius, so that we can make sure that we are meeting all the cleaning schedules and the physical distancing measures. We are going to just have a max capacity of 6 fitness members per hour. And I'm not sure if you've seen yet, but what we've done is we have divided our cardio equipment to be in the actual fitness center. And we've taken our weight resistance equipment and put it in the lecture hall. So we'll allow 3 people in each room. The reservations are an hour long, and people can make 1 reservation a day. We're kind of just going for a week at a time to give everybody the opportunity to be able to sign up. So as we roll out right now, we'll be doing reservations from 8 in the morning. And then the last reservation will be at 3:30 in the afternoon. We're not offering any fitness classes in the building right this moment, but as Marilyn mentioned, we're doing a lot of pop-ups throughout the month at different locations. So I'm excited to kind of get some of those on the schedule and get going. We will also still be doing our foot care. I mentioned last month that we have added to every Monday now we're doing foot care, and we've had to add additional time slots. So people are becoming a little more comfortable coming in now, and that works out great because our schedule is getting pretty booked. Let's see, in addition to doing the things we've been doing, the Fit and Fun packets, the 5-minute fitness, our instructors calling in and everything like that, we'll still continue those things. We'll still continue our fitness class online subscription. We're actually just finishing up filming the third season of that. So that's kind of fun. And we're also going to continue to offer our healthy living lectures via Zoom. So back in May, we did our strokes. We partnered with the Czech Center at Salem Health, and we did knowing the signs and symptoms of strokes. We had 6 folks that were currently attending that went to that class. And then as I checked YouTube just to see how many people looked on after, we had 6 people that had viewed it on YouTube. We also did our Building Healthy Habits with Cheryl, our personal trainer. We had 8 folks in attendance, and it also has 6 views on YouTube. So that's kind of exciting to see that people are looking us up if they can't make it. Some of the upcoming Zoom lectures in June, we will have an Improving Your Sleep Zoom meeting with one of the local sleep doctors here in town. And then we will be also doing an Eating a Plant-Based Diet, which is going to be taught by our retired registered dietitian, Sophie Sparling. She's also one of our volunteers. She's done a couple of talks for us. So got a lot of fun things coming up. And I'm really anxious to see how things go when our fitness center opens and people are back at it. I've gotten the chance to talk to so many people that are just excited to be there next Monday. It's been a little bit of a learning curve, just getting folks acquainted with Sign Up Genius, but nothing we can't handle. This takes a little bit more time. But I think once people are comfortable with it, I think they're going to really like being able to make their reservations. And I see us being able to use this for massage and foot care and other things that we do at the center or in the fitness center as well. So a lot of fun things going on.
You want to highlight just your experience at the foster home, adult
Oh my
foster home?
goodness.
Tell
Absolutely.
about your game you played and how that worked out.
Well, so when I arrived, Wendy had said, she goes, fitness isn't always fun for people. I said, yes, I know this. She said, could you make it fun? Could you put it into a game? So I made a game out of Uno. And we, every time we picked up an Uno card, whatever the color was and the number was on it, that's the exercise that we did. And it was really fun because it seemed more just like, oh, what are we going to draw next? Rather than, okay, everybody sit down, 5 push-ups, 10 sit-ups. Nobody really wants to do that. We all decided we could be friends because we don't always wake up jumping out to do our workout. So we decided that it was okay to make fitness fun and do what we could. We probably did about 15 minutes of fitness, but a good 25 minutes about talking about the fitness and working through some of it. You could tell that maybe hadn't done a lot of different movements in motion in a while. So it was fun to start out a little bit slow. I think we could have honestly brought nothing there at all, and they would have loved us just as much because they so appreciated the companionship. I think at the very end, I started to tear up. Melanie, one of the gals that was there, she says to Christine, her caregiver, she says, yeah, they can come back. And the caregiver says, oh, is that because they brought you some chocolate today and some treats? She said, no, it's because I had so much fun with them today. And that was just 1 hour. It was like, oh my goodness. And the stories that we got to hear in just that 1 hour, I brought some music and played some 60s music just to kind of lighten the mood a little bit. And so even when one person wasn't super chatty, you could start hearing them sing. And then they felt a little more comfortable. One gentleman got off the couch and just came and ate strawberries with us, and that was fine. Maybe next time he'll join us. But really fun to see everybody feel so comfortable. They're inviting us into their home, which is such a privilege to be there. And the fact that they wanted us to come back was just the icing on the cake. It was awesome.
Kanoi.
Good job.
Why, I always say that. I say, most staff meetings, I ask my crew to give a mission moment where they saw their work really doing what our purpose is. And sometimes it's hard because there's paperwork and there's budgets and there's all sorts of things. And sometimes you're like, okay, how is this working for my mission moment? Then you have a mission moment. You're like, oh yes, that's why we pay our bills and fill out the paperwork and do the things we do, because of that. So thank you. It's pretty exciting. You can see it on Kanoi's face that everyone came back. Wendy came back. Everyone came back just like, oh, we got to connect with people that may have been isolated or only with their small little group for a long, long, long time. And here's a new face, and we're excited about that. So I wanted to just put it on your calendar, and hopefully you know about it, but on Friday, June 18th is our Cup of Joe breakfast. Normally it's in person, but this year it's Cup of Joe on the go. It's our drive-through breakfast, and you'll pick up your eggs and your donut and your coffee, and then you can go home, and you'll have a link to our Zoom program at 11 a.m. where the mayor will do his talk. Linda Schellenberg, our president, will do a brief talk or a brief welcome. And then I'll give my director's report, and we'll kind of recap, you know, what have we been doing and what's the new year look like? So this is our storytelling time. I think it'll be really, you know, a good program, great to share with your friends. It's free. Of course, we're always asking for a donation. That's the point of these breakfasts. If you've been to them, we've all been to them, hundreds of them. But there's not, for me, it's truly more important that people learn who we are and know why we're here. And that in itself sells it. That's all they need. And if they want to give at a later time, or they just simply want to tell others about it, marketing money is expensive. So having someone tell 3 or 4 friends what they learned is more than pays for the donation. Cup of Joe, we're just asking people to give up 1 cup of coffee a week and donate those funds to Center 50 Plus and our programs that we're doing. What's going on with villages? We've had a really great last several weeks with our village in South Salem. And we've had a couple of events. We had an ice cream social at Woodmansee Park. And I think we had 12 people come. And it was just a great way for people to connect and learn a little bit more. We did get 1 brand new person out of that. And we did get 3 new members just from that one gathering. So we're going to see a lot more activities. We have a walking group that'll begin at Woodmansee Park on Thursdays at 10 a.m. for the villages. And then we have a newsletter that will be going out just talking about what is a village and how do you connect to it. One of the great things about the pop-up program and doing the WOW Van is now at every pop-up that has a current village, which we have 2 now. We have South Salem and Mill Creek. We will be there with the village table, promoting, encouraging, explaining what it means to be a village member. Just kind of a little snippets about what's happening by talking about the village network and villages in concept. It's little things like Wall at Woodmansee Park, the coordinator of Walk Salem was there walking. And she came up to me and she said, well, we were just talking about Center 50 Plus, and there was some conversation about how we could partner. And I said, well, you know, our goal is to have a village in every neighborhood, you know, that there's a village, and we're going to have a meeting because her goal is to have a walking group in every neighborhood. Well, what's perfect? That's a perfect match. You know, they have a volunteer leader. We're trying to form these groups. It furthers what we're trying to do, building senior connections in their neighborhoods. So lots going on. We're continuing to do these different things, but we do have one major change happening here at the center. The details and working it out is still in the process. But one of the things that has been very clear from, well, frankly, I don't know, as long as I can remember, we have received comments from the public or from seniors that sometimes coming to Center 50 Plus is overwhelming. You know, it's 1,000 people a day. It's a 30,000 square foot facility. We have over 200 programs and activities, and making that initial connection can be very overwhelming. I compare it to my 7th grade, first day of 7th grade, going into the cafeteria. And there was all these kids and all these tables are filled, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to get my lunch. I didn't know where to sit. thankfully, I found my 2 little friends and I went and sat with them. Well, I think that's probably what it feels like to some people when they come to Center 50 Plus. And the comment is, I don't know how to connect to a class. It's hard to figure out how to volunteer. I want to take a trip, but the trip lady's only here from 10 to 2, 4 days a week. Just kind of that, how do I connect to Center 50 Plus? How do I become engaged? And so for the last couple of years, we've been talking about a connection center. Get connected, be connected, a one-stop customer service area where they can register for a class, become a volunteer, learn about villages, sign up for a trip. Just really, they don't have to go to the 2nd floor and find somebody in a room to register them, that they can come in. And so we are creating a connection center. And with the timing of the boutique being closed for the last 15 months, has allowed us to think about using that space in a different way. And so between now and September 7th, that corner, including the boutique and into the lobby, will be converted into what we call Connection Center. And we're hoping that engagement and no confusion on where to go, but also a place where our volunteers can check in, be, aware, provided the details of where to go, what to do, what information that might be exciting to them that's going on in the building. We're just hoping that our volunteers will feel more appreciated, better prepared for their different jobs and duties in the building or in the community, and that all of those things together will create that warm and welcoming atmosphere. Our receptionists are the best. I love my receptionists, but we've put too much on them. Yep, Mel, I agree. 2 thumbs up. Poor Mel. I had to turn off the chat, Mel. You want to know, this is a public meeting, and apparently the chat doesn't make it into the record. And so, sorry, I missed the chat, but I can do thumbs up. I see you on the screen. Our receptionists are amazing, but frankly, we've asked a lot of them. We're a multi-phone line. They're directing people to different rooms. They're checking people in, and they're having to direct everyone to, a staff. It's just it's a lot. And so to ask them to know everything in the building, register for people for classes, or even provide attention to a new person, it's just a lot to ask of them from that space, especially with the door flapping behind them and people lined up behind them and the phone's still ringing. So we have separated responsibilities, and the receptionists will be phones. We have a check-in kiosk for patrons, and then we will have a connection center for all of that business. So there won't be as much work done behind the reception desk in those cubicles with the public. They won't be coming behind the desk anymore. They will be, they'll have designated staffing at every table that is well-versed and knows everything that's going on. And then I will be staffing that. I'll be staffing it with a full-time person who will oversee all the different components of that space. And they will be the glue that's one of the most energetic, well-informed, connected people I can find. And they will oversee the Connection Center. So we're pretty excited, but some remodeling, a little bit of things will be going on from now until August, until we open in September 7th. Any questions from the group? You have to do it live. I don't have it in the chat, but any thoughts, comments, questions?
I think that sounds great, because even just as a member of the community, someone that has led groups or come for events, I can relate to that. And I'm someone that's pretty comfortable stepping out into an unknown situation. So I think that sounds awesome.
Lisa. Well, I know we will miss the boutique as it is, but we are working on how it will be more like a student center where there will be things for purchase, and then some pop-up, more like some pop-up markets that might be outside or inside. So we can address, the jewelry lady has her own time, and then the hat lady has her own time. We can do some things like that that create some energy in the building. And we don't have everything set in stone. And friends will continue to help me with the boutique and the sales things. And then we'll be recruiting very heavily for some very strong volunteers to assist us in those different desks. So there will always be a Friends desk where you can become a member of Friends, sign up for travel. There will always be a staffed volunteer desk. And I think that will really be important. And then, of course, class registration. It will be staffed and ready to go, and people can come in. And we can also take the time to help people figure out how to register from home. So that space will be a designated space where they say, I really want to do this from home, but I just can't do it. Well, come right in here. We're going to do it with you right here, and we're going to help you register so that you can do it from home. So we're really excited about that. The word of the day is excited. The second word of the day is feeling very hopeful, and looking forward to a very bright fall, fully engaged and seeing people and doing new things and being as efficient as we possibly can with some of these new tools that we've had to embrace. So, any questions of me? I think that is it. And the new Northwest, it's not called Northwest 50 Plus anymore. It's just called 50 Plus Magazine is out. It looks really nice. And so we only had, it looks like this, 50 Plus Magazine. Just a second, let me spotlight me. If you haven't seen it, it's back on stands. And I've been spotlighting Kanoy the whole time while it was my voice. Kanoy, could you have just used your mouth while I spoke and we did some kind of
Thought about it.
Yeah. So this is the new 50 Plus Magazine. It really looks nice. It has our insert in it. Virtually the same, just has a different name slightly. And I do like that. And it's on the stands, and we're looking forward to working with them. And then last but not least, I want to do a shout out to Rebecca Smith and Salem Electric. We received a very large donation of these amazing lanterns, emergency lanterns. They're about this big, and they're for emergency situations. We are taking those donations, and we're doing a pop-up in the park, inviting people to come and prepare their emergency preparedness kits. And so we'll be teaching a class on the first Monday of this month. And then following that, we'll do a park pop-up where people can come get their blanket, their new lantern, get things stocked and create a little emergency packet and take it home with them. So more to come on that. We'll make an announcement on Facebook, and then I'll send an email to all of SCAC and friends to spread the word. But thank you, Rebecca, because those are really, they actually are the gem of the kit, and then we're working around that. So thank you.
You're very welcome, Marilyn. I'm glad that we could do that, because when you're stuck without power for 1 hour or 12 hours, you need something. So I'm really happy that worked out. Do you want me to go into my partner report then?
Yes, let me go ahead. Is that what's next on the list?
It is.
Okay, let me share my screen. All right.
Okay. Thank you very much, Marilyn. So you all know me. I'm Rebecca. I'm Rebecca Smith. I work at Salem Electric, partner of Center 50 Plus. And last year, it was robbed of me to give a year-end report from Salem Electric because of COVID. It's terrific. So I'm going to kind of bring last year and this year and kind of just put them all together. And so at Salem Electric, my job is I administer the assistance programs. Marilyn, could you go next slide? There's 2 assistance programs that we offer at Salem Electric. One is called the Salem Electric Member Assistance Program, and one is called Roundup. The regular member assistance program that we have, it is budget funded. It started back in the 80s to, that was kind of the main focus at that time was they saw older adults and they saw people with disabilities getting left behind, and they wanted to catch those people. So they created this assistance program back in the 80s to help with those power bills in the winter time, because those are typically the highest bills for most folks. And then a couple years later, they actually opened it up to everyone who was low income could apply for help. Excuse me. And throughout the years since the 80s, we've had budgets over $215,000, and we've had budgets as low as $170,000. It really kind of has depended on the need of the community at the time. And so if there was a budget that we needed to increase, because we saw a lot of people needing help during that time, a couple winters ago, it was actually really a bad winter. And at that time, we went to the board, we requested an increase in budget, and they allowed it. So that budget fluctuates yearly, basically. We called Dollar Checkoff, but we rebranded it in September. And instead of donating $1 on your power bill, you can round up your power bill to the nearest dollar and just donate the change. And that has been a program that I've heard about. I've been at Salem Electric almost 5 years, and it's a program that I heard about probably about 4 years ago. And I've been pushing for this program and trying to get this program into our, to make it work with us because it's so user-friendly. And I was thrilled. I found out in September of last year that we were going to start implementing Roundup, and I couldn't tell you how excited I was because this program has just blown up. It's been amazing. It was a very stale program before, and then with the rebranding, it really caught people's attention, and I'm very, very proud of how that worked out. But the Roundup program is all member funded donations. So members can donate part of, which is a dividend, they get paid back, they can donate those. They can donate just a one-time gift on their bill of just the change or any dollar amount they want, or they can do a monthly round up the change. And it's been very popular so far. And so next slide. So in 2020, we saw COVID-19 hit, but we were able to get through most of our regular assistance program before the world stopped turning. So our regular assistance program runs January to the end of April. It's just for those heating months, and it helps people with 150 to 225, depending on their level of need. That's configured by a formula. Don't ask about it. It's just, that's the scale that is used. And we've always given priority to our seniors, our people over 60, or people with disabilities, because this is the program that was originally intended for them. So we always let those individuals apply first. They get to apply. Contact, because those folks are usually on Social Security. They're usually on some sort of benefit that doesn't change on a regular basis. And so we allow those folks to be a little different, be handled a little different. And that's okay, because this was intended for them. After we open it up for that first month for members over 60 and with disabilities, we open it up to everybody else who is considered low income. So they have to not exceed 60% of Oregon's median income. And that fluctuates every year, but we follow the state of Oregon guidelines. They have guidelines out there for what classifies low income, and it's been easier to just follow that trend than to try to reinvent the wheel. And then typically we've always required members to have electric heat. This is for your winter power bills, and people with electric heat are usually just slammed in the winter time. So it's always been focused on those people. And then we have our Roundup program prior to the world shutting down. We have this pot of funds that we entrust to St. Vincent de Paul and Salvation Army. They have very good reputation in our community. People go there for food boxes, they go there for rental assistance, and they go there for water assistance too. And so we have, for the last several years, entrusted them to also give them electric assistance through this money that members donate on a monthly basis. And so typically that money has been supposed to be earmarked for people who are over income guidelines. They can't, they're not low income, and so they can't apply for any other federal programs or our regular program. It's for people who are gas heated, because we've never assisted those people before with our regular program. It's also for people who have exhausted all of their options and they have a disconnect notice. And sometimes they just need a little hand up in the right direction. Administered $50 to $100, depending on the agency. Members could go potentially to both and get $150 total from them. But that was kind of the agreement, that they would go there instead of using our assistance, but there was no way to kind of track if they were using ours, using theirs, using everything else all at the same time. It was kind of a free-for-all last year, I'll be very honest. Okay, next slide. And then COVID-19 hit, which was thrilling. It was exciting. Life just changed overnight, which was crazy. We had our office changed here just immensely. We went to work one day and they gave us all of our computers and all of our remote work stuff. And they said, go take the afternoon, set everything up at home, come back tomorrow, and we'll go from there. And tomorrow never came. We stayed at home after that for the rest of the time. So between the end of March and the beginning of July, our office was empty. It's on a regular basis to take care of things that had to be done here. There's some things that are very, like mail, for instance, you can't do mail at your house. It has to happen here. So 1 or 2 people came in during that time period, but otherwise we were all remote for, about 9 months, I would say. We also issued a voluntary moratorium for disconnections between the end of March and the middle of July, because Oregon shut down. Oregon still shut down, but Oregon was a mess during that time period. People weren't working. The unemployment office was a mess. It remains to be a mess. People were waiting for unemployment for months. And so we did not disconnect anybody during that time period. We were calling people and letting them know that we're not disconnecting, but we highly encourage you to make a plan with us. We want to set you up on a successful road here, but we can't force people to do that. And so when it came time for disconnections to begin again, some people owed 6 months called us once. They hadn't made any plans. They hadn't reached out to any assistance that was available. And those folks, some of their bills were $1,500 because it was 6 months owing, and it was obviously panic time for that. So it was a very busy time for us when we came back to the office in July. We called hundreds and hundreds of people to let them know that it's time to make a plan because you're running out of time. And so we were very, very busy for the first few weeks, just calling people. Our office hours changed in September because nobody was here really. And we decided, well, if we're working from home, why don't we try and see if this Monday through Thursday thing will work? Because that's not unheard of in our industry. A lot of people, a lot of offices are Monday through Thursday and they take Fridays off. So we did start September 1st, 7 to 5:30. And it was a temporary change. And then in January 1st, our board of directors approved that to be a permanent change to our Monday through Thursday, 7 to 5:30, and nobody's. And then, as you can see, we had another disconnect moratorium. That's because in November, Governor Brown issued that Oregon was again extreme risk. The state shut back down after a couple months of trying to see if people were going to follow by rules, and there was just too much risk. There was a lot of outbreak. And so Oregon went back into, especially Marion and Polk counties, went back into extreme risk, and we shut down. And so Salem Electric did a voluntary moratorium to cancel disconnections until we came out of that extreme risk. And that ended on the end of March. And we opened a little movie theater window in our front lobby because our lobby has been closed since last year. At the beginning of March, where people could walk up to our office. They could actually interact with a person instead of calling in over the phone or using a machine outside. And that was actually very popular. It's surprising how many people, once they realized that they're a real person, how many people actually utilized it. So that was really exciting. It got us face to face with members again, which is what we're really, it's the most important thing to us, is that we want to be that face to face. So our assistance program definitely changed last year because March, we closed down our office completely, but our assistance was still needed. And so we had no way of having people come to the office. We had no way of doing any of that. And so we changed. We actually stopped doing in-person appointments in March, and we had everybody fill out applications online, email it in, or we had people fill it out and then mail it in. We'd mail it to them, they'd mail it back. We also stopped our regular assistance program at the end of March, and we created a new COVID-19 assistance beginning April 1st. And that was to assist people who, yeah, they're over income, but they've lost their jobs, or they've been furloughed for weeks, or their unemployment hasn't come in yet. So they may be over income, but they actually have no income. We were in. So we created that to assist with those members. We also wanted to assist our small businesses in Salem because small businesses were immensely impacted by COVID-19. They've been shut down for bars, restaurants, you name it, has been closed down. And so those owners obviously have no income to pay their power bills. So our board of directors created a COVID-19 program for our businesses, and we were able to assist those individuals worth $350, which typically is about one bill for a small business. But if you're looking down the end of a barrel and it's one bill or 5 bills, I'd rather have one bill taken care of for me. So that was just kind of what we could do for those people. For our assistants, we had to make it fair to everyone that these folks who needed the COVID-19 assistance, they needed it because of what was going on, and we didn't want people who had already received our low income assistance, whose income probably hasn't changed from any of this. We didn't want it. So we tried to keep everything equitable for everybody. So we said, if you've already received assistance once, you have to sit this one out. You have to wait until January, and you can apply again for normal help, because this program is earmarked for these people. But during this time, our Roundup program exploded. People have an amazing way of coming together when there is crisis. And so we saw people donating $1,000. They call in and say, I want to give $1,000 to help somebody pay their bill. We've had that happen actually probably 4 or 5 times, $1,000 over the phone. We've had people donate $50 or $20, or they're rounding up every single month to the nearest dollar. And we've had over 300 people do that. And so our members have been truly amazing with this whole ordeal. People want to help each other and give them a hands up. And so it's been amazing to see how that's gone just in response to COVID-19. So next slide. So we had of how everything went last year. We decided everything's up in the air right now, so we might as well make changes when nobody has a normal anymore. So some really great changes that I'm so proud of is that our program will now run from January to November, or whenever we run out of money. So instead of running January to April, we lost a whole bunch of people in that May, June, July, August, that they still need help. They just missed the deadline. We're still getting people applying for assistance now, and I'm so happy that this was a great change. We also have we've opened it up to all heating types. Like I said earlier, typically we've only helped electrically heated homes with their bills, and that is not necessarily fair for everyone. So I'm so glad that our proposal was approved to get our gas heated customers assisted as well. So now everyone, regardless of their heating type, if they are low income, you are assisted with $175. Just a flat $175, because there was a lot of questions about why 150 as opposed to 225. What's the scale like? How do I make that happen? 175 for everybody makes it equal across the board. It reduces questions, and it's better for everyone that we can assist more people with 175 than we could with people receiving 150 or 225. So that was kind of that decision. We also decided we're not going to do in-person appointments. Our office has been closed. We just actually opened our office in the middle of May to have people come in and out. So we decided we're obviously not going to do any in-person appointments. We'll do everything email, fax, mail. Love it. It's been super easy. Last year, we also stopped using our outside agencies, Salvation Army and St. Vincent de Paul. We decided we really want our members to have our normal assistance first of the 175, because that's going to help them more in the long run, because we can qualify them for that community action agency. If they're only getting the 150 from both those agencies and they don't have an idea of where else to go, then they're stuck. So we want one-stop shop. They come here, they get help where they need, they get all the information they need from us. Roundup, we decided to just keep it simple, 175 for everyone who qualifies for Roundup, who are those folks that probably are not low income, but they've hit a hard spot in life. Okay, next. So in 2020, when COVID hit, we stopped our program at the end of March. At that time, we assisted 917 people. You can see how many seniors, people with disabilities versus our low income. which is, it's always our goal that our seniors and our people with disabilities are our main focus every single year. So whenever we assist, more than half of our total is seniors and people with disabilities, I'm thrilled because that's kind of the people that get lost. We also assisted them with $163,000 that got posted to everybody's accounts. Program took off. We assisted 373 members with their electric bills with $56,000, which is a lot less than our normal assistance, but I have to say it was really great to give people options when they were facing a disconnect or they were facing everything else happening, that we still have assistance that you can apply for. And it may not be much, but it made a huge difference to people. We also assisted 39 small businesses with $13,000. Our small businesses that we saw in Salem were very, very appreciative. We wish that we would have helped more small businesses, obviously, because there were a lot out there that were still struggling, but I would call that a win. Okay, next. There was a lot of assistance out in Salem as a whole, not just us, for COVID-19 through Mid-Willamette Valley Community Action Agency. They receive all of the federal funding for the valley, for Marion Polk. So they got money, and people could apply for all of those different pots of funds, all of the same agency. Some people were helped with, I have one member who was helped with $1,300 in assistance last July, and people were applying for that assistance. That assistance wasn't nearly used as frequently as it could have. So there were so many different options in Salem, but I don't know if there was just nobody knew about them, but they were not utilized how they could have been utilized. There was a lot of money left on the table from that. There's still money left on the table from all of these programs. Excuse me. But it's been really great for the people who have sought that assistance. They've seen a great help to their accounts that they needed. Okay, next. So in 2021, the year that we're just in, we're not closing off this program until we run out of money or until November 30th hits. Yes, 30, it's not 31 days. So this year so helped with $173,000. We've assisted 23 people with Roundup, and we've had over $90,000 come from the Mid-Willamette Valley Community Action, which is all of that federal funding that we've seen. So all of those together have really helped the people that need it. Some people choose not to, and that's fine, that's their choice, but this assistance is all out there for them. Okay, next. I also wanted to just touch on the President's Day weekend ice storm, because I'm sure people are just like curious. We had 9,000 people out of service for the first night, which is about half of our membership. We got 4 other crews came from Redmond, Eugene, and Newport to help us, which was amazing. We couldn't have done it without them. So we started, the outages started on Friday night, and then by Sunday night, almost everybody was back on, which was unheard of. If you're not serviced by Salem Electric, you probably were without service a lot longer, which is unfortunate. We had about a handful of members still off throughout that week because they had to do some electrician repairs to their weatherhead or their meter base. And then we had a lot of people just bring gifts that whole week after, just bringing food for the linemen. They had so much food in their break room that they literally couldn't eat it all. But people were just so appreciative and thankful, and the community rallied around everybody. So I thought that was amazing. And the next couple slides are just pictures of what damage we saw when we were out there. So you can see there's trees were just snapped, poles were on the ground. They were so heavy from the ice that they literally just fell down. We had the trees were covered in ice. I was actually out in Silverton. I was at the Oregon Gardens when this all happened, because it was Valentine's Day weekend too. And so I was out there with my husband, and we were going to leave no power in our room, and the fireplace was gas, thank gosh. But so we were still warm, but we just heard the trees snapping all around us. It was so eerie. And then getting out to the car, there was like 3 inches of ice on our car that took us probably half an hour to thaw out before we could even leave. And then just driving from Silverton to where we live, it took us over 45 minutes because of the roads were closed, and there was with all of the streetlights down, and people were lined up for gas, and everything was just incredible. So those are some pictures in case you're curious of how that looked. And our guys were so proud of them. They did an amazing job, and they worked 24/7 to get everyone back on. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca. Any comments or questions from the group? That was very interesting and always impressive, the amount of support you provide to our community, but in particular to the seniors that we also serve. So thank you. Any comments from the group?
Okay, easy.
Okay, you must have done fantastic. Thank you. Who's next on the list?
Elise.
We have Elise with Alzheimer's Association.
I just had a quick question for Rebecca. Just curious about, just because we've seen this too with our seniors and disabled folks, just like curious how the response to moving more online, and like, have you had, what percentage of people do you think had requested paper applications versus people who were able to make that movement? Because technology has been, and access to services has been a huge piece of things, and our lobbies haven't been closed, but we don't have workers working like in the same way that we used to. So I'm just curious how, if you have a ballpark idea, just curious how that was received.
So we, on a regular annual basis, we mail out applications to all of those folks anyway. And it's usually about 450 that we mail out on November 20th. Excuse me. And then the other, I think 2 months ago, I went who haven't applied yet. And I followed up with them individually to kind of see why. But overall, the email version has been very popular. We have it on our website. That's not as popular because people can't find it on the website as easily as just opening up their email. There's a PDF, bam. So we're hoping to get that really toned in for next year. We are going to embed a link in our email that we send out. So I'm hoping next year will be almost all email if we have one on file. So we'll see. Hopefully it'll be 50-50, but at this time it's I mean, a good response, but definitely it's mostly been paper still.
Okay, well, shall we switch to Alzheimer's Association?
And Marilyn, I have slides. Can I share them?
Yeah, I'll make you, there you go. Go ahead and try sharing your screen.
Okay, let's see. Can you guys see it?
Yes.
Well, that's just fantastic. Okay, so my name is Elise Lipnix, and I'm a program specialist with the Alzheimer's Association. And I'm just going to give you a quick partner report. I'm going to stop my video for the sake of bandwidth. So let me do that. So 2020 to 2021, it was a really eventful year, as we all know. So I'll start with who we are. We cover Oregon and Southwest Washington, and the Alzheimer's Association is the leading voluntary health organization in Alzheimer's care, support, and research. March 13th, 2020, we had to pivot, and since then our programs and services have all been virtual. We cover a lot of ground as the Alzheimer's Association, and I will go over quickly all of our strategic pillars, but I am going to focus on care and support, which is the pillar that I work under, which is our programs, AKA our early stage programs, our education, and our support groups. Because I think that while everything was affected by COVID, I think that this is what people want to know about as far as, well, how, what happened to your education programs, what happened to support groups, and how were people able to access these things. Our mission is to eliminate Alzheimer's disease through the advancement of research, to provide and enhance care and support for all affected, and to reduce the risk of dementia through the promotion of brain health. And our vision is simple. It's a world without Alzheimer's disease. This is our symbol, and our symbol is really simple. It combines people and science. So when we wear our pins and stuff that has this symbol, people always ask what that means. So this is supposed to be a beaker, and this is supposed to represent a head. So here are our strategic pillars: increasing concern and awareness, advancing public policy, which we do on the states and the federal and national levels, enhancing care and support, which is where I am, accelerating research, which we do on an international level, growing revenue in support of the mission, and embracing diversity and inclusion. So our education classes, I'll start with those. And this is going to be kind of a succinct partner report. So please ask questions if I'm missing anything. I tend to do things kind of short and sweet. So our education classes last year, so this will be for the last fiscal year, which runs July 1 to June 30th. So it'll be ending June 30th. We offered 84 classes, and that's just our chapter, the Oregon Southwest Washington chapter. It's worth noting that we did partner with our regional chapters in Idaho, Washington, and Alaska to offer education courses. So each of us offered a certain number of education classes, and then we combined it onto one main education calendar. So the Oregon and Southwest Washington chapter was responsible for teaching, let's say in the month of March, 6 classes. Alaska was responsible for teaching 7 classes, whatever the case may be. What this did is this increased attendance, and it also really increased attendance in rural parts of the country. So this has really been kind of a unique thing that we did, that was one of those surprises that came out of COVID that we didn't really foresee, was that being able to do this really just increased our reach with our classes. We offered 40 private classes, and a private class, all that means is that it's not on the education calendar. So I work on the education calendar about a year in advance. So let's say Marilyn comes to me and says, I want to do a class at Center 50 Plus. That would be considered a private class, even though it's not necessarily private. We just call it a closed class. That's just our verbiage. We offered 40 of those. So 40 different people came to us and said, we would like you to offer a class. Some of those clients included the city of Portland and Nike, and some pretty big clients that provided a lot of people
Yes.
attending. What? We maintain 25 active education volunteers, which for comparison is about 25% of our total education volunteers. So 25 volunteers stayed on to teach during COVID and did it virtually. All of these classes were offered by via Zoom. Our classes are 93% volunteer led. So 93% of the time a volunteer is teaching our classes, and we do strive to keep that number in the 90th percentile. And we served over 80% of those we served in person. So we reached that 80% mark, which I think is pretty impressive that we were still able to reach that number of people virtually. Like I said, we were able to reach more rural communities and more diverse communities. And the way that we know that is through registrations. They register with their zip codes. And many times when they register, we do ask about their background, and also our classes that are offered in different languages experienced higher registrations. So we maintained 36 active support groups throughout Oregon and Southwest Washington. We maintained 3 early stage support groups. Early stage support groups are where the person with the diagnosis and the care partner attend the group together, and then they split off into 2 groups. So the care partners go in one group and the people with the diagnosis will go in one group, and then they come back together at the end. We maintained 1 early stage program. The early stage programs are kind of hard to maintain virtually because many of them are so interactive, such as art and singing and such. The one we were able to maintain was Art Now, which is through a museum in Eugene. We kept 38 active support group volunteers, which again is right about 25% of our total support group volunteers. Support groups are 99% volunteer led. And we noticed higher attendance in groups with varied communities attending. And what that means is that people from Bend would go to groups in Portland, and people from Pendleton would go to groups in Medford, because it's all on Zoom, so they could. And so people were really shopping around for groups that worked for them. Care consultations are, for the most part, in the state done by myself. There are regional coordinators that will do them regionally, but the majority of them I do, and they're just kind of in-depth one-on-one conversations when someone really just needs to talk about what they're going through and they need specific resources and maybe some troubleshooting tips and some disease education. Care consultations have gone up by 38% from last year. We do have a 24-hour helpline. Helpline calls have increased by 12%. Healthcare provider and physician referrals have remained steady. So that's physicians that refer their patients to the Alzheimer's Association. That number has not changed. So that's actually good. And Purple Packets are a resource that we provide to providers to give to their patients. The orders for those have increased. I don't have the exact number. I feel like it's by about 1,000,000% because I'm the one that puts those together and sends those out. And I feel like I'm constantly making Purple Packets. So it's by quite a bit, but I don't have that exact number, and I apologize for that. So what's next? We are returning to limited in-person engagement as of June 1. So as of today, following state and local guidelines. Mostly what that means for us is not so much a return to office, but a return to in-person meetings. Possible return to some networking meetings, one-on-one meetings, the ability to do care consultations in person, small support groups, small education classes in person. And they do expect, barring any big change, a full return to office as of August 1. Now we are hoping, now please note that word, hoping for in-person walks this year, our fundraising walks, but there's no guarantee yet. But we are definitely hoping for that, and we look forward to that. We are crossing our fingers, really hoping that we can get people together for the Walk to End Alzheimer's. They were virtual last year. We still were able to raise funds, but it definitely did decrease. Going back to in-person programming as well, what that's going to look like is probably going to be a hybrid model. As far as education and support groups, probably what we're going to do is keep some virtual classes and some virtual support groups, and then go back to in-person as well. So we'll keep both, because there have been some definite benefits to the virtual model for caregivers that cannot leave the person that they're caring for, cannot leave the house, people that are rural, things of that nature. The Alzheimer's Association is here all day, every day for people facing Alzheimer's disease through our free 24/7 helpline. Here's the number, 800-272-3900. And we have a fantastic website as well. And I think I want the takeaway of this to be that we had to change, we had to pivot, but we didn't leave. We didn't go anywhere. We were here to help people. And I think that's the most important takeaway that I would like you guys to take away from this. So that being said, that's the end of my presentation. Does anyone have any questions?
Anybody? Well, again, another great presentation. I'm so excited to get you back in the building soon. See everybody, but great work during this time. Proving that, there are different ways that we can reach out. How many of you have been on the Alzheimer's Association website? It's very good. It's very good. So I think it's a great place to refer people, but also just for our partners to really be well versed in, because it has many resources, a lot to connect you to.
Information.
Excellent. Thanks, Elise.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, so it looks like last we have our friends report.
Well, I know that Linda Schellenberg is on here today as a member of the Advisory Commission. I don't know if Linda, do you have something you'd like to speak to? Or I think we mentioned the Cup of Joe. That's really the next thing coming up, but anything else? Let's see, I don't see. Linda, do you have anything you'd like to share? Okay. Okay, I think Cup of Joe is the next great thing happening. So hopefully you'll all join us for that. And that's just a few weeks away. Friends did make their annual contribution. Normally it's close to $100,000, but we made a decision to make a donation of $38,000 this year so that, well, frankly, Friends, all their fundraising is in person. It's boutique, bingo, fundraising events, and travel, all the things that have been hit by COVID. And so rather than drain all their resources, we opted for a smaller donation, but a very important donation of $38,000 that went directly to supporting the activities and programs during this last year. So a special thank you to Linda as president and all of the Friends Board of Directors for continuing to do everything they can, drive-through dinners and bingo parties and encouraging people to be members and all sorts of things. So thank you, Linda.
Okay, well, is there anything else that we need to discuss? Anything else coming up? Otherwise, I think we're up for adjournment.
I want to thank both you and Elise for sharing your reports and your updates. What's so important about the advisory commission is understanding what our partners are doing and how by us understanding those partnerships, what our partners are doing, it improves our ability to work together. Where do we cross? Where can we support one another?
Okay, well, if there's nothing else, sorry, I have a frog in my throat all morning. Is there a motion to adjourn today?
I move to adjourn.
I think Mel had.
Second it. I'll second it.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Anybody opposed? Okay, great. Well, thank you all for coming